Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. I'm Astrologer Dave Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Well, thanks so much for being a part of HighVibe.tv. If you are not, this is definitely the time to be part of it, because the revamp of High Vibe, a whole entire new upgrade, launches at the end of this week. Been working on a completely new, whole entire studios, office. The last 6 weeks has been a huge move for High Vibe. I've just completed it by the end of this week. Tomorrow, the fiber's in, the sets are done, and we have a whole entire way of putting out content, especially for this intense time. Especially today, we're talking about this solar eclipse that's going to be happening in Libra, the last eclipse of Pluto Capricorn, right? So this is definitely going to be a very big time for us to all be going through. And this is the eclipse that really does continue that Pluto theme of the end of this, the end of that, the end of all of these cycles as we are ending this Pluto Capricorn transit in November. I just want to say I've learned a lot in the last 6 weeks. It's been, well, going along with the themes of letting go of things, especially the past, of where we've been in our journeys, and looking forward into this new future that I think we're all very excited about, but we are all at the same time finishing Pluto in Capricorn. It's going to be a crazy October. It's going to be a crazy November, but 2025 is going to be the year of where all this that we've been waiting to see fully pop. And it really will be that next eclipse cycle. I've put out there on Twitter, High Vibe, all my socials, that my big prediction of the X Factor moment that we've all been waiting for comes March of 2025. I think specifically the date is March 17th. I'm calling it the X day. So just know that these eclipses are also the, let's say, the fire that's lighting 6 months from now. But that also means the intensity from now on until the next set of eclipses will be very extreme. It's nothing to be scared of. It's a remembering in the astrology that we are at so many transits ending, so many ways of life over the last 16 years ending, but also the amount of layers, and it's a lot. We can't even fathom it, of the compression of whether you want to go into your past lives, timelines, and just even the compression of all that we're going through spiritually as we're evolving, right? I said in 2017, it'd be called rising through the darkness these times. And that moment where we feel like we're rising out of it will also be the most thick of that darkness over this next 6 months. And so the reason why I built the beginning was the Leo King app 10 years ago in 2014, and then it was Future Life, and then it's been High Vibe since 2019, even though I started High Vibe in 2018 with a daily show and app. It was more of like a morning kind of app show. But really, since 2019, High Vibe's really been an awesome place. I do have a quick announcement for those that don't know too much about what's been going on in High Vibe. I just got the new app update out. So, of course, if you didn't know, we're the largest and only spiritual-based app and community and social media website, plus all the content. So you have freedom of speech to make your own posts, right? To put up what you want. We have tons of people that are doing their own thing. You can make polls. You can put up video clips. You can do it all. Even people share their own spiritual stuff on here. But what we just did is messaging and direct messaging to each person. So this is my wife. You can DM her on here. There is no other spiritual app and no other spiritual place or even astrology place that has all of this with all the horoscopes and all the shows, period. This is what I've been working on for a decade, is literally making the spiritual home. And it is fully here. I mean, I know Iggy, so I don't think he'll mind. I could message Iggy right now. Hey, he's my opposite. 0 Aquarius. Right? Boom. So if you're not on High Vibe and you want a safe place to post and not be lost in the social media world of all this crazy crap, where all of your posts are just people trying to look cool by whatever they're posting or whatever all this crazy crap is, and just really geared towards what's going on with the astrology, what's going on with eclipses, what's going on with anything that you're feeling spiritually, this is really where you get out of that noise. You can direct message, you can comment, and you have the freedom to put up your own videos, to put up your own posts. That's what it is. It's also like that on the website. I just wanted to show you that finally today was literally the day that the DMs in the app just finally got done. And the community, of course, has been up for over a year now, but I think 7 months ago we got videos and up. It was pictures first. And like you could literally make a post in here and you could choose any of the media that you want, right? So like, yeah, I'm voting personally before I put all my predictions out, just, you know, for Trump Vance, because they're not friends with school shooters, because I guess Tim Walz is, right? Whatever you want to post on here, that is not seen by any of these people out there that are trying to claim that they're doing all that spiritual stuff for you. I'm sorry, it isn't. They're not doing it. They're not putting all the money that you spend for the crazy amounts of like $25, $30 for their Patreons, and they give you 2 videos, and then they don't make you this, which blows my mind. Blows my mind. And they're also not going to give you a horoscope like I'm about to give you right now. Because the horoscope I'm about to give you is one that I don't think anybody's talking about much. And let's go dive in right now, because it's going to be a wild one for sure. Well, happy solar eclipse. Of course, it's going to be more of a ring of fire eclipse. Not going to be seen by us in North America, especially in the United States. There's some kind of other regions that are like up in different places that we will, but not for what you would normally see here, like we saw with the one last 6 months ago, that total solar eclipse that was with Chiron. So this eclipse, of course, happening at 10 degrees of Libra with the south node. There's a south node eclipse. And the last time we had a 10-degree solar eclipse in Libra was back in 2005. So everybody will go back into that chart. But this is with Mercury Cazimi that's been happening during the dark moon over the last couple days, and it's still in that Cazimi moment. Of course, the exact part of that Cazimi, Mercury was at the heart of the sun literally just a day ago. But this one's with dark moon Lilith exactly conjunct this eclipse, which does make sense, but also it does bring up a lot of these south node themes I'm going to be talking about. And because this is in Libra, we have Juno as well there, and Eros in Scorpio. Venus, which is dispositing all this energy in Libra, is in its detriment in Scorpio in a semi-sextile. We have a lot of planets not in their happiest place. Mars, for example, in fall position, only 1.5 degrees away before it starts to go shadow, and it's already doing 0.5 degree a day. It's slowing down quite a lot. We're at 31 minutes and 3 seconds a day at the moment of this eclipse on Wednesday, which will be at 11:49 p.m. Pacific. We have Jupiter, which is getting ready to retrograde on the 9th of October, and it's in its detriment, and it is literally a week away from retrograde. And sorry to say, folks, but opportunities, the expansion of your life, you've reached max capacity. You really have this last week left, and I would say days with Mars before it enters shadow in a sign that's in its fall right now, and that we're going to see Mars in Cancer for an extended period of time, since that Mars retrograde comes in December, the first week in Leo, and then retrogrades back into Cancer. And we see this Mars in Cancer in its worst place forever. And Mars is definitely a big part of this eclipse because it's in square to this solar eclipse. So we're going to talk about that. Jupiter about to retrograde in its detriment, and Venus in detriment at the same token, and the Sun, of course, in Libra at its fall position as well. So if you actually were to just take a look at this eclipse, I know it feels like it's maybe end times, end of the world, but you've got Jupiter there with a -5, Mars with a -4, and that Venus with a -2. Of course, the sun's in its fall, but you give it some, that sun moon's in an eclipse right now. But yeah, the sun is in its fall too. So how do we look at this eclipse? Well, the first thing that I would look at is this Mercury Lilith conjunction, and it's also a south node eclipse. So I'm sure some people are going, what the hell is this thumbnail the Leo King is posting? How about I just give you some visuals? So what I did was I went, hey, I went on ChatGPT and I went, all right, let's take some descriptions of Lilith and I'm going to let AI describe it. And it kind of goes really perfect with this Libra story about relationships. We have Juno in here, the wife of Jupiter. We've got Eros that's just left, but it's in Scorpio with Venus. Venus is semi-sextile to this eclipse, but Lilith is right there. And with the south node here, this is where the worst thing that you could do is be in crazy, wild breakup energy. And this is what Lilith really is for people that don't know. Because a bunch of feminists in 1972, when they came up with the description of dark moon Lilith, they buttered up and made Lilith seem nicer than she is. That's the truth. But going back to Mesopotamia, going back to old ancient Jewish mysticism, not only was she a baby snatcher, she was the demon that came into the night to steal your babies. There is a lot of dark shit with her. And it's also this, I don't want to go with the show that God's doing at all. And I think that the problem with this is, especially with Mercury there can be this kind of extreme, because it's very dark feminine. And then there's the square to Mars. That men and women could get in some really big arguments about who's better or whatnot, and that's nowhere to go right now, right? But it can also be this really, whether you're a man or a woman, this extreme anger that can extremely come out with Mercury also that's in this Cazimi with this eclipse. It turns Mercury off. So anybody trying to say it makes Mercury really smart or anything, no. This is like if Venus was there, it'd be burning out Venus. Because the only two planets that can make it Cazimi are Mercury and Venus, people are not going to be thinking straight. And they're going to be going off emotion, because that's where the problem is with this eclipse. I would say that the big problem is that Mars, which is ready to go into shadow in Cancer, this next 6 months is going to be a lot about war, about how to control your emotions around anger, and to not let this idea of what's unfair take you over. Or especially because the south node's there, start thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, because this also is this not wanting to look at your own self. Because what's in opposition? Of course, the north node in Aries with Chiron there. And what's so interesting is the last solar eclipse that we had was dead conjunct Chiron. So really, if you think about what's been these nodal conjunctions, has been the year of North Node Chiron. Now, yes, Lilith was all the way back in Virgo earlier this year, and now it's in Libra again, and it was even in Leo for a second, and it moves all over the place. But ironically, it's exact, and it's really the dark side of the moon, the dark moon Lilith, right? It's when the Earth is facing that. So, of course, on this eclipse, it's exact. And so this is kind of intense, because a good way to put it would be, and this is just basic Wikipedia old school stuff. In the old Hebrew text and also in Mesopotamia, Lilith was night creatures, the night monster, the night hag. Be careful of the night hag, whether it's a man or a woman, all right? Or the screech owl. First occurs in a list of animals in Isaiah 34, but also in 34:14, Lilith's reference does not appear in most common Bible translations, such as King James Bible and the new, what was that? NIV is new something version, whatever. Commentators and interpreters often envision the figure of Lilith as a dangerous demon of the night who is sexually wanton and who steals babies in the darkness. Now, if you think of what's been happening over these last couple of years and what we're at in this moment, when you think of the election, when you think of where we're at in life, who's the side that's trying to fight for this? I'm in control of the other soul that's trying to come within me. All the weird baby shit that's been happening, all the dark shit around that and trying to act all good. And I'm being dead serious right now. I know that right now I could already feel all the shocks in the collective, like, what? No. I've been talking about this forever. And this is going to be the darkest of the eclipses, since this is the last eclipse with Pluto and Capricorn at the 29th degree. Currently, there is no scholarly consensus, with some adhering to the animalistic interpretation, whereas others claim that it's representing a literal demon and category of demons falling under specification of Lilith. Historically, certain prominent Jewish rabbis in the Talmudic texts feared the likes of Lilith, some to such an extent that they recommend men not sleep in a home alone, as any who do would be seized by Lilith. Jewish incantation bowls and amulets from Mesopotamia from the 1st to the 8th centuries identify Lilith as a female demon and provide the first visual depictions of her. And the said amulets were often symbolic of divorce papers, which is very Libra, warding off of a given Lilith that was thought to be haunting one's house or family. So, I mean, I can go on for days about this because I don't understand, except for pretty much all of the crazy young Gen Z Pluto Sages that think they know everything. They adore Lilith because of a feminist 1972 astrology written, like, let's do an op-ed and make it a nice piece about Lilith and try to be about autonomy. Well, if you even go for their version, the illusion of the South Node with this eclipse is I'm getting the autonomy in a relationship. It's the lie. It's this North Node Chiron that we need to be focusing on. And what is this North Node Chiron? Well, of course, we all have to be responsible individually for ourselves. And that's what makes healthy partnerships. But this is us also letting go of this 19 years since 2005 and the last eclipse that was at this degree, of remembering, you know, all the stuff that's happened over the last 19 years when it comes to relationships, when it comes to finding your inner balance. We all have our lessons to learn. Our egos have our lessons to learn. And Chiron here, the real deep healing, especially Chiron's in sextile to Jupiter and is just going to be both. They're both pretty much in this awesome sextile right now. This is about being open-minded, getting the facts before reacting emotionally to things, and not taking that dark, feminine, demonic, crazy version of the energy and start, because men do it too. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, right? Or if you're feminine or masculine. Lilith plays in all of our charts. Don't start becoming also the night bird, as she was called. That's why you see the dark birds of the night. It's kind of like, I guess, the geese that take babies in a positive way. Just flip it with the dark bird at the night that steals your baby and eats it and shit. Like, we are in a moment here where if you think the grass is greener on the other side, you're wrong. You have to tend the grass that you have now, and it is not a perfect world. We are in this Saturn-Neptune conjunction that has not even affected us in full yet, since the transit comes exact at the beginning of 2026 at 0 Aries. Yes, they both come into Aries in 2025, but they both retrograde back into Pisces. Everything's sloppy right now. So we have to find compassion on a huge way of how we're dealing with things, because even though Saturn's at 14 degrees retrograde here, it's not enough to be a quincunx to this solar eclipse. Some would. I'm much more tighter orb when you get to the more minor aspects. So I would say that Saturn's not in a quincunx here, but I would say that we have to remember you need to check yourself because your mind, and that's where I'm going to come back to Mercury, your mind right now is lost. Whenever there's an eclipse on Mercury here, trying to communicate and trying to battle for some sort of, I need to win my autonomy back. I don't like what the universe has bestowed me with, because that's the idea of Lilith, right? I don't like what God set me up with. And then all the feminists went crazy with that shit, right? Same way they are right now. Oh, you know what? No, there's no soul in that. If I kill that baby, okay. Of course, you guys all know my stance. As I don't mind. I'm pro-life and pro-choice. Meaning, if it's before a prenatal eclipse, yeah, I don't think there's much going on there. But once a prenatal eclipse is hit, you've already entered into that contract. So is that soul. And I know this is, I'm not afraid to get canceled or anything, because go back thousands of years with astrology. Trust me, that's a soul coming in, and anybody who practices astrology looks at their prenatal eclipses. So you're trying to tell me that that's not a soul coming in here? So we're at a really interesting moment here, because what's fair for humanity is the big question. Is censorship fair? No. What's real body autonomy? Oh, being forced to take something? Like, you made the choice to have the sex, and if you didn't, and you get raped or whatever, of course, I get that. But you don't need to wait till 9 months, 8 months to figure that one out. And actually, what's more scary right now is the abortion pill by these people raping people, because they rape you, they throw it in your drink, and then they continue to do the dirty deed, right? So we need to have different conversations now, but these conversations are really sensitive. They're hard to have. And so to try and find truth in this moment can be difficult. But what you really have to look at is this Mars in Cancer. Are you letting your emotions lead you forward, opposed to you learning to have your emotions about, okay, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to take care of the things that are going to make my emotions feel good, but I'm not going to let my emotions run out with the trumpet and be the soldier because emotions and action and masculine energy do not go well, right? Like, you don't need a diva man out there running around with their emotional issues, right? Likewise with a feminine in a more dark space, especially that Lilith. So if you think about it, this is also Mars in squared to Mercury, Mars in squared to Lilith, Mercury and Lilith conjunct, and during this cazimi of a solar eclipse. And it literally is us looking at that dark side of the moon. In a ring of fire eclipse, an annular eclipse. And it's all important because the whole world is at a tipping point, and that's literally Libra, right? It's at a complete tipping point. And we are going to be facing, since just days after this eclipse, that Sun, that Mercury are going to start making really hard squares to Mars. Jupiter's going to retrograde on October 9th. Mars is going to go into its pre-shadow, right? Like, it's literally going to get nuts. Uranus is retrograde back on top of Algol. Now, if you don't remember, the assassination attempt, the first one, was during that transit with Uranus on Algol. And so we have to remember there's a lot of dark forces around. And right now, it's trying to find a way to make you, if you're unaware or if you're letting it go through, it's using this kind of illusionary, beautiful, Libran peace, right, through giving away what actually real peace is by making really crazy kind of tipping point decisions that really could affect you for the rest of your life without thinking thoroughly. Also with Venus in Scorpio, it's dispositing this eclipse. It's in Scorpio. At least, you know, it's in good aspects. It's not really in the hard stuff yet. But this is where people can actually try to find something that they want to desire more or better without even actually appreciating or understanding what's right in front of them with Mercury right there. And this is where, you know, you've got to be able to see where you're contributing the issues of any of your problems right now. It's very easy to put it with a South Node in Libra on, they're the problem. I'm being treated poorly by this world. If you're a crazy liberal, look what climate change is doing to my life. Okay. Right? You can put it on whatever you want, right? But that's all the illusion, especially with Venus in Scorpio. So it actually makes it like doubly powerful of this outside illusion is the problem in my life. When really it's more like, where am I not facing within myself the healing that could take place? And let me be more open-minded and let me actually pay attention to the actual facts. So Jupiter here in detriment, because that's in Mercury's home. Well, it's got a lot of facts it has to understand, and Jupiter wants to just keep moving with belief. But Jupiter has to take fact by fact here in order to keep exploring. And this is the last degree we're seeing with Jupiter this year, right? So, and then for the rest of this whole year, as Pluto's going to retrograde, and here in October, we'll finally station direct. We don't see Saturn station direct till November, right? Like, we are in some really weird energy, and this is not a time for you to start making crazy decisions of end all be all, of like, especially when it comes to your relationships. So whether it's new relationships, existing relationships, right? Of course, if it's really bad, I mean, then you have to really look at that and make sure that you're not, number one, creating some sort of ego issue where you're just throwing your ego because you don't want to take responsibility for stuff, because that's easy to do for people nowadays. We see that actually happening a lot in the world. Where did they put that? Oh, they went like this now? Oh, yeah. All right. And at the same token, it's this Pluto back in Capricorn, and this is the last eclipse. Now, I showed people on the lunar eclipse, we started Pluto Capricorn with a lunar eclipse in Virgo conjunct Saturn, and then we just had the last lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago in Pisces conjunct Saturn. Now, I haven't done it yet, but I just thought, why not? Let's all do it together. That's how I kind of roll over at High Vibe, you know, and how I do things. So why don't we all just like look together for a second? Let's look at the beginning of 2008 and the eclipses. All right. So let's go to 2008. And let's see what was the first solar eclipse that came in at the beginning, right? Oh, was it the 17 Aquarius one? Pluto in Capricorn? Yeah, 0 degree. This was it. It was at 17 degrees of Aquarius with Mercury. But that Kazemi was the Mercury retrograde, right? Wow. And it was Chiron. So how weird. We just had 6 months ago the solar eclipse conjunct Chiron. So the last, that's really, what's really weird. Where the sun's exalted 6 months ago was with Chiron. And where the sun's at its detriment was with Chiron to start the whole transit. South Node Leo, Saturn, and where was Lilith at that time? Dark Moon Lilith. 7 degrees of Scorpio, around where Venus actually is now. And it was Jupiter, Venus, both in Capricorn, and Pluto right there, 0 degree. And it was also Neptune conjunct that solar eclipse. So we came into Pluto Capricorn not really thinking, well, blind, and we're leaving Pluto Capricorn blind, is my point. Because Mercury was also within 1 degree of that eclipse. And what I'm trying to show people here is how the patterns of astrology work. Because it's sad, as I've taken a sabbatical for 6 weeks and only done dailies on High Vibe and not been doing my weekly shows and stuff like that till the new launch this week, having to do the biggest move of my life, I literally, though, have snooped and been like, let's see what other astrologers are doing out there. And I'm like, no wonder it's so bad out there. They don't even teach people all these patterns and don't even want to look at this stuff. Don't even want to really talk about Lilith. They'll just go with the 1972 rewritten version that was done by feminists. Literally, look it up. So, how weird, but at the same time, it's not weird. It's okay that you're leaving this Pluto Capricorn transit blind, or that we're navigating in blind waters right now, especially with Saturn, Neptune, and Pisces, right? Like that's the other point is, you know, with Saturn, Neptune, and Pisces right now, it's super blind out there. But, you know, the positive in this is if we look back at the 2005 eclipse that you went through, sorry, I know it's here somewhere. Here we go. October 3rd, 2005. There it was, 10 degrees Libra, South Node. Mercury was off, though, and it was Mercury and Jupiter that were getting ready for their conjunction. Pluto was in Sag. And at that time, Saturn was in Leo with Lilith, Dark Moon Lilith. And it was Saturn opposite Neptune. So, of course, Saturn and Neptune are now together. So if you think about it, there's another weird kind of correlation, just even from eclipses. Watching Saturn now be in the same sign as Neptune when they were in opposite signs 19 years ago, right? So if you think about it, this is a lot about closing shop, but this isn't meaning that you're closing the whole market. What are you letting go of? You're letting go of where you feel you've been treated unfair. You're also letting go of the lessons you've learned in past relationships and not bringing them into existing ones or new ones going forward. You also are learning to not let your emotions lead your ego, because that always fails, right? I'll use a good example. Mars is the warrior. It's the soldier. Well, a soldier on the field that's upset that he's got a bad relationship is probably going to die. Now, you think it'd be opposite. Well, he's probably upset, so he'll do great on the battlefield. No, he's not going to do good on the battlefield because his whole mind is going to be on something else, right? So this is where you have to get very clear, and that real diplomacy is having a diplomatic, not debate, but final resolution with, I'm no longer blaming things on the outside that have happened to me. I'm actually going to take the responsibility, because at the end of the day, the longest cycle is Pluto. And Pluto at Capricorn, 29 degrees, and this is the last eclipse of Pluto Capricorn. So if you think about it, it's about ultimate responsibility and getting to the deep parts that we can try and blame things on the outside, but really it's what you do with life and how you can transmute that into a much more positive. We're also seeing the Pluto-Saturn semi-square be pretty close to exact. We're at that like 44 to 45 degree. So we're pretty damn close. 14 degrees Pisces, 29 degree Capricorn. That's 45 degree. And so again, Saturn and Pluto met in 2020 in January on the 12th. We're finally 45 degrees away. So it feels like that turn we're finally getting to. But of course, Saturn retrograded, Pluto retrograded back into Capricorn. So we all felt this year like we were going to turn a corner. I'm sorry to say we're not. The only corner we're turning is not the external one you keep looking out for there in the world to turn. It's the one inside of yourself. The one that takes responsibility for what stuff has gone on in your life and learning to let go of the subconscious bringing back up of those patterns to continue to keep putting all the blame on the outside, to keep putting all these things. Like, you have to take ownership. And this is where that North Node Chiron can be difficult. Trust me, I know. I was born with North Node Chiron conjunct. The lesson in North Node Chiron is to not always have a chip on your shoulder, and in this case, Aries, about it doesn't look the way you want to. I want this, especially with all this Libra, it could be this very miscalculated idea of what beauty looks like, what the perfect relationship looks like, what the perfect this looks like, what the perfect painting looks like, what the perfect this, the perfect that. This North Node Chiron is a warped, weird chip on the shoulder. Like, I never get it to look the way I want to. Instead of, where am I contributing to it not looking the way that I want to? Instead of putting the blame on somebody else or on the outside world. We all have to take responsibility. You know, we want the world to change. Guess what we do as light workers? We change within ourselves. We don't put the blame on the outside. And the last solar eclipse, that was a total where the sun was exalted, at the actual degree of the exaltation of the sun was 19 degrees of Aries. And so we have to remember that this eclipse is where the fall of the sun is. And it's with the south node. The south node eclipses are softer, meaning that the impact isn't so much what's happening outside as much as how you're handling things internally. And so, and also what you're letting go. But, you know, the south node and the north node, they both work together. They're connecting points. And so we have to remember that this is also connecting with you with how to find more peace in your life, how to find more balance, and it's how you act. It's in square to Mars. It's how you deal with your emotions. And for some reason, the universe wants us to deal with this emotional stuff and even the hard stuff with Mars that's going to retrograde in Leo in December as a big, potent part. We're not even done with the craziest transits of 2024 yet. One of the craziest I think that's coming after this eclipse is when Mercury will be retrograde in Sag, opposite Jupiter. That'll be retrograde in Gemini, and they're both going to be a detriment. That's going to be one of the craziest transits of the year, and that's going to be the confusion after this election and in between, the stuff that happens in between that. And really what's going to happen is not so much about election day as much as January 20th, because that's where Pluto is ingressing back to 0 degrees of Aquarius. And that's the day, right? 0 Aquarius is the day that we always do an inauguration. So really it's more about what happens in between. And it's not going to be like 2020. It's going to be more like something happening to the person who gets elected and who really will be the person that's elected on Inauguration Day. And so, you know, I think tonight kind of showed that. I'm not putting my official prediction out because my name gets put in a hat like the other professional astrologers. I've already been asked when I'm putting mine out. I'll be putting that out now that I got my new studio up. Probably the next week. I said after this eclipse, I'd put it up. But some nuances is, without putting my official, is I think tonight you saw a future president. And it's going to be an interesting moment here for everybody to realize, stop getting caught up in, you know, what you want everything to look like. Right? This eclipse reminds me if Botticelli's Venus was mad at everybody surrounding her as she gets out of the clam and turns into Lilith and starts screaming at everybody and going off on everyone. That's how you know you've fallen into the trap of this eclipse. And the ultimate test is that Pluto in Capricorn, because this is Pluto, as it does, secretly watching. By the way, it's at the 29th degree, so if we actually look at 30-degree Capricorn in Sabian symbols, it deals with secret meetings and rooms of government officials and so forth, right? But if we think the more spiritual version of it, Pluto is secretly watching and It's in Capricorn. It's keeping score of your responsibility to deal with life, to stay on top of things. And like I said, this is rising through the darkness. I told you it'd be sink or swim times, whether we look at the economy right now, whether we look at all the way that life has come to test us. This is your ultimate test with all these planets in detriment and fall. How do you rise through this? You don't put blame on other people, and you rise together with people who are working on themselves. You have compassion for others, and you don't put blame on other people. If you're dealing with somebody who's causing you a problem, then why have you spent so much time blaming all them? If somebody's a really bad problem in your life, it's not that hard to not get that involved with them. But most people get stuck because really you become addicted more to this Lilith notion that you want to cause, you know, this kind of actual North Node Aries, Chiron opposition, kind of victim aspect. And you know, this is not about trying to find trauma because what, you don't like the story of fate that's bestowed you. This is about learning to receive fate. And if you're really in tune with your destiny and really in tune with where you're going spiritually, you're not going to be running into problems right now. You're going to be finding the solutions. You're going to be even keeled, and you're going to be humble enough to take responsibility and find the courage to face those things and deal with them instead of putting the blame on everybody else or trying to play, oh, look at this person. They're the reason for all my problems. There is no person that can cause you the problems that you think that there are. This is what you have to let go of. I remember this eclipse very well in 2005. I was very young. I was 21 years old. I was in a very bad relationship with a very toxic person. And instead of blaming them for the problems of me being addicted to drugs at the time and all that stuff because they got me into that and all this crazy shit, I just didn't give them the power of making that. It was my responsibility. I ended up doing the drugs, right? I ended up doing all these things. I made the choice to take the responsibility of my own life and just not deal with those situations anymore and not surround myself around that world. And so it's not about putting the blame on somebody. I never have put the blame on that person either. Yeah, they caused problems, but I was there choosing it. And, you know, 19 years later, I'm nowhere near anything like that. As I'm a father now, I'm married, and I haven't done drugs, and God, I can't even tell you. I haven't smoked weed in over 12 years. It's been a decade plus of me not doing fucking crazy shit. I don't even drink alcohol. That's coming up on over 9 years. So, you know, you got to look at it like this is, for some, a repeat. And it might feel like one, but that's the illusion. It's not. It's trying to get you out of what happened in 2005 and that 6 months that preceded that. While at the same time, this is Pluto in Capricorn, and the responsibility that you've been learning over the last 16 years. And every eclipse cycle, remember, there's 2 sets of eclipses every year. So if you think about it, you've had 32 eclipse seasons to learn responsibility and to learn how to step up, be an adult, and handle situations and not put the blame. And that's where success is. It's about learning the integrity within yourself and the responsibility. And it's very easy in this topsy-turvy world for you to quit. And it was because of this job, or it was because of this person, or it's because of this. That's why I'm failing. You're failing because you're choosing to fail. The solution is actually because your mind is topsy-turvy and overthinking and weighing out too many things. Instead of doing the one thing you're probably the most afraid to do, take a responsibility. Jupiter and Gemini, open up to more facts. And that's where the healing can happen with this Chiron in nice sextile within the exact degree. I mean, sure, if you want to get real technical, it's within half a degree, but it's fucking within a degree. And Uranus on Algol. Don't you dare try and join some sort of dark emotional energy right now and get angry and get mad. You're going to end up on the wrong side of the tracks. You're going to be picking the wrong side. With Uranus on Algol right here, the demon star, come on. And then the other demon, Lilith, The solar eclipse is dead conjunct? Come on. Really? And what's interesting is this eclipse, and even more so, Lilith and Mercury are making a Ceci quadrant, a Ceci square to Uranus and Algol. The demons are literally making a hard 135-degree aspect. So any anger you have, anything that you're bitter about, anything that doesn't look the way you want to, that's the demons trying to take you over. And the fear that can be created by them taking you over, like what happened to Bashar. Like, that's not Bashar. That's not that alien. That whole prediction, I'm not allowed to give the prediction out there. The frog says, right? I can't give a prediction about the presidential. Hold on a second. I can give you a little bit. Go re-listen to it. If the woman wins, there will be open contact. If the man, and this is, I got to give my boy Rion, Team Light, some shout out. We talked about this yesterday. He said, listen to the words. If the man wins, it will be the end of the United States and World War III. Does that mean the end of World War III? Because everybody thinks it's the beginning of it. We're already in it right now. In open contact with what? The CIA, the FBI, the fucking dark secret government CIA UFO shit? I don't think so. But that person ain't channeling, because they said, I'm not allowed to tell you, and then they went ahead and said something. We're in a place where, you know what? Who can really be of, this is the light worker moment. Who can really be of truth? Who can really hold that responsibility? And honestly, base your identity off of being a healer that's not afraid. Not afraid at all. Not like Lilith, like, I get my energy by being fucking whacked out crazy, fucking on some fucking crazy hormones they're just throwing at me or whatever. This is not, if you're in this, you're in the trap, and you've fallen for it. You have fallen for it. And if you're this dude, or the poor babies, this is not, especially when you think about it, Mars is in Cancer, right? The weakest place for Mars. So the masculine, I tell all masculines out there, you might feel like you're on an unfair place. You're not. You're learning how to deal with emotions and learning how to be stronger on the emotional place, which isn't your strength. Feminine, you're not in an unfair place. You need to get back to being fair again instead of trying to win the battle against men and women. There is no patriarchy. There is no matriarchy right now. It's all even. So this needs to end. The only way we make it through is if we all see the equality within each other. Period. And that we all have shit we're all working on within ourselves, and the compassion we have to find for each other. And if you're in crazy, whether it's friendship, family, I don't give a fuck what the relationship is. If you're up to each other like this, stop it. Find a safe word. Find a way to calm it down and actually have the conversation that actually bridges you back together. Because this is tricky shit out there right now. And the dark and the demonic aspects, and I'm not somebody trying to promote Christianity or some religion, right? I'm talking about the demon star and Lilith, the demon, right? In a Ceci quadrant, in this eclipse, with Uranus on top and Mercury and a solar eclipse on the other. I mean, I'm trying to say, listen, the dark is doing everything it can, typical end of Pluto transit, to try and suck you up and trying to take you over and trying to make you cause horrible disruptions. Because really, is it peaceful to cause all these problems in relationships or cause problems in your life? No. If there's a problem, you don't have to be part of the problem, and you don't need to make a fucking ruckus about it either. What's the point in getting upset over a problem? That just adds to the problem more. So be very wary of this eclipse, and that means it's with us for the next 6 months and also for the next 19 years. And it also is the last eclipse of Pluto and Capricorn. And now we go into true no man's land with the blindness of our minds, of our, I think we can intuitively know when somebody's not being truly themselves, like when you look at Bashar, Darylenka. But we have to realize there, and anybody trying to promote, especially a man out there, oh, the patriarchy's doing shit. There is no more patriarchy yet. Men are the most in fucking prison. Look at all the data. If in the Western world, the feminine has come up to equal and is now trying to trample. And men aren't trying to say feminines are being wrong. We're just saying like, yo, we're equal. Like, we got to work together. And Pluto in Aquarius is a masculine sign. So, you hear all these astrologers out there being, oh, that's going to be the time of the women. And no, it's going to be the time where we're all human beings. And it doesn't matter if you're man or woman, that we're all equal. So don't start, if you're a feminine, you're falling into the trap of I'm treated unfair and blah, blah, blah. And that Lilith is handing you. If you're a masculine, you're an emotional wreck and you have no control of your emotions. And you're a weak soldier for the light. And all of us with Uranus, the collective, don't pull a ditty. Don't think that the freak out that you have on life is good, because it's the same kind of freak off parties that he was having, that you're doing to your soul and to others. So if you're not on high vibe, I show at the beginning of this all the new changes, and then you'll all physically see the content on a completely whole entire new upgrade, and 6+ weeks, probably then 7 since July 25th. So it's been 2 months. So it's more like 8 weeks of a complete overhaul of everything high vibe, and even how I'm going to be doing horoscopes. And for me, I've focused most of all the work just on the evolutionary astrology, and then I do shows where I talk more about world stuff and all that in other places, so people, if they don't want to go in that place, they can always every day rely on just the evolutionary astrology. All right, let's see. What do we got card-wise here for this last solar eclipse with Pluto and Capricorn? We got a Queen of Pentacles reversed and a Nine of Swords. I think a lot of people are going to be afraid about money and stability right now. Especially, we have to remember that stability comes from within yourself, or being afraid of losing something, or losing something that you value a lot. We have to remember the Queen of Pentacles, she finds a way to always make what she needs to make. And we all have that ability. But selling your soul or doing crazy things or trying to jump ship to another ship that you think is better, or doing these kind of crazy things, it's all built off anxiety. It's all built off some sort of fear. And that's giving away your sovereign manifestation, and giving away your value, and probably giving away the values that you have, and hoping that this other side or these other people or this other group or this other situation will be better for you, when actually it's no, now you have to adapt to their values, which are probably out of sync with yours, just for the one value that you're desperately seeking while giving up so many others. And that's what you see in the political game right now, right? Give up this, but you'll be safe from that. Give up your freedom of speech. Give up your freedom of... Let us choose what you put into your body. Let us choose what your kids must fucking go through. Let us choose for you. No. No. Sorry. I wish you all the best. I hope to see you all on High Vibe and part of that community that is the only one in this astrology, tarot, spirituality, and where you can DM and meet other people and post all the things that you want to post. Name me another one that does all that. I appreciate you all very much. I have big news for Astro Mystic coming out in the next week and a half. The beta AI that I've been doing is going to have a new name. And we're also have human design involved. It's all in. We have some crazy stuff. I don't know if people follow AI or all the open AI stuff with the new reasoning and some of the new announcements today. I have a meeting Friday with my partner Jim on it, and we are going to blow since June. We have listened to what everybody wants in the astrology, AI, and added human design world, and it's going to blow your fucking socks away. You're going to be like, what? So you could spend Jupiter retrograde in Gemini looking at CoStar and all these places and be like, because like CoStar will tell me like, it's a good day for stilettos. It's like, hello, I'm a fucking dude. I'm a Leo man born in 1984 with Mars and Saturn and Scorpio. You really think I want to wear stilettos? So that's how, that's how bad it is out there with all these. And for all those out there, and I feel bad, there's a lot of astrologers out there. I'll show it to you right now. I just saw this the other day. And I hope you all are ready, because the only astrologers that are going to be left very soon, this will blow your mind. Hold on one sec here. Astrology.com itself has already, without telling all their other people that are on YouTube, right, that they do horoscopes for, they've already made their AI personas. This is legitimate. Astrology.com connecting you to the spirit realm and made generative AI pictures. And look at how they try to bait everybody off sexual aspect, right? A young chick, some young dude. So you want to talk to Atlas? Gather your friends and let Atlas guide you to new depths of camaraderie and connection. Veda, invite your friends for cosmic exploration with our group horoscope readings. Ophelia, grab your friends and explore the world of tarot together with a gifted empath, Ophelia. And look at her fucked up tattoo. Or let's be diversity. Whoever put their mind on this is disgusting, because they don't give a fuck about you on YouTube anymore. So all you YouTube tarot readers out there, the biggest astrology site and soon to be tarot sites, they've already ready to replace you with not even a human being. That's not what we're doing at Astro Mystic or at High Vibe. Which, of course, Astro Mystic has a new name coming out next week. But I ain't going to be doing that to you. So, to think, I know people who left working with me to go do videos for these people. They didn't give a fuck about you. They've already got a scientifically based psychic. You really think they know how to train AI correctly for psychic work? No, they don't. We've taken 12 years of all my schools and all my training and taught and trained the AI to do astrology like I do it from a spiritual space and not allowing it to fall into this crazy woke-topian way of doing things. Estelle, oh, she's your love and relationship expert. Providence, yeah, she's on menopause right now and not having a good day. But talk to her about your life path because she knows all about hers. Welcome to Pluto and Aquarius coming. So, and then Avalon. Can you look more AI than that? The Asian-y Avalon. Oh, she knows all about. She lives in Dubai. By the way, Avalon. So she knows about career and money. You got to be giving me a fucking break here. They just stole from all the AI porn shit and did this. This is astrology.com today. Your connection to fake bullshit and using sex appeal and diversity to sell you. Have a wonderful and beautiful eclipse, and I'll see you on highvibe.tv.
Okay. Monster. Attention, please.